Hello and welcome to my channel, Monica Merlot, and how to live your best life. And today's topic is about you are more than your desires. You are more than your desires. There's just desires can kind of take us out of our body, wanting more, needing more. What do I desire? And we will feel a lot of desires when we're younger, and hopefully we kind of desire, in a sense, less, not live less, not live like really have a great life as you get older, but knowing that certain desires take away from your experience. And what does that mean? What does that mean for me? For example, when I was younger, I desired what I think a lot of people did. It's like establishing yourself in your community and making something of yourself. So it's just continually striving, right? So in your 20s, it's very social, always out there. Trying to get the attention and approval of others. And, when I was in my 20s, being in a relationship, later on, starting a family, and then creating that family. And it was just constantly doing and desiring more things. And if I thought, and I think that a lot of people have experienced this, maybe the newer generation might feel a little different, but just needing things. Like if I, drove a certain car, if I lived in a certain house, if I had certain things, I'd be part of a group that I thought was like successful, and maybe I will be happy, and desiring so many things, people, places, and things. And so what I discovered is the more I accumulated and the more I desired, the emptier I felt. And the more empty that I felt, I became so disconnected with self. I didn't understand it for a long time. And I know that there was this inner calling inside of me that was starting to speak, and I could hear it. And that's when at the time in my 20s, slowly, very slowly, when I started a yoga practice and began my journey in this wellness world, is when it started speaking to me, and that little voice inside started getting louder and louder and louder. And it was really interesting because the more I disconnected, the louder this voice got. And so there was this really big struggle that I was feeling for a long time, because it felt counterintuitive. It felt like, well, if I do better at this, if I'm a better mom, if a better partner, better friend, do more in the community, I'll be okay. And this is exactly what I need. But it just became worse and worse, because I was losing who I guess was meant to be, right? We are all meant to be something within ourselves, but we need to know what it feels. It needs to feel congruent. So, the desire part was very strong. And I see that a lot in a lot of people. And as I've said before, it's like there's seasons of life. So the seasons of life, it's like, you finish schooling in your 20s, you want to establish yourself in your career, you might, you start a family, or you don't, or whatever. There's usually something we want to establish. And by the age of 40, late 30s to 40s, you start to go, is this where I want to go? Is this the direction? Now, some people are fortunate enough to notice at a younger age. And maybe I would say this generation might be a little more in tune with some of these feelings that, this doesn't feel right for me. If you get that sense, if you feel that intuition within yourself, you need to listen to that. That's really important. I started listening to my intuition in that way. I use my intuition for other things, but I started listening to my intuition really later in my late 30s. And then by 40, I was really had to make huge decisions that if I want to feel better, I want to feel calmer, I need to make changes. So how did I do that? Like, how do you change your desires? And it takes time to start to notice. It takes time to do the self-discovery and just to see what's going on with yourself. So it's like I did therapy, lots of different modalities in yoga, breath work, got more and more into mindfulness. That took me time, only because mindfulness, what is it? It is a practice to slow down, to pause, to take a moment. And I had taken down a couple of notes. So, this is a great example. So how do you practice mindfulness? So let's give this example of how, if you took a jar of dirty water, there's dirt and water, and you shake it up. So this is actually a great practice to do if you want to start to calm yourself down. If you want to calming doesn't mean that you're going to be chill and then you're not going to be motivated. No, calming is just so that you can focus better and you can, it creates more space for you to think. It works, it settles your nervous system. There's just so many great benefits of wanting to come into a more settled, calmer state. So imagine you take that water, you shake it up, and this is like the storm, right? Being in a storm, and imagine you're inside of that mucky water, and you're inside, and it's just all around, and you can't see clarity. It's no clarity. Then all of a sudden, you sit still. And how do we sit still inside that mucky water or that storm? Well, the best way in mindfulness is the breath, breathing in and breathing out, and just noticing. You don't even have to control the breathing. You just start to notice your breathing. So you just notice your breathing while everything is mucky and stormy around you, and you just notice. And that's when you become the observer. So you become the observer and you're noticing, and then going back to your noticing your breathing. Just noticing, breathing in, very simple. The more simple you create your practices, the easier it is for you. And I think we complicate things, thinking that we have to do very unique practices. Mindfulness is very basic, very simple. And I'm giving you just a couple of examples on how you can, tools that can help you to settle yourself. So this is settling of the water, the dirt, as it goes down. And then all of a sudden, it just settles. And then you have clear water. Your thoughts are like that. Your thoughts, you're busy, you're distracted. This is a big issue now, is people distract themselves when they feel uncomfortable. So it's okay to feel uncomfortable. So needing to get comfortable with the uncomfortable is one of the first steps in mindfulness. And most of us, even I did that too, where I didn't know how to deal with being uncomfortable. So I would distract myself or numb myself. And there's just many ways to do all that, right? And then the people say, oh, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. And they fill up their day. Granted, I understand when you're younger or if you have young children or that your days get filled up pretty quickly. However, practicing mindfulness doesn't have to be a half an hour practice or an hour practice. It can literally be 10 seconds. 10 seconds of just taking a pause, just noticing yourself, your breath. That's it. Not more than that. And you can do that so many times during the day. So many times. So let's just do it now. Let's just take a moment and just noticing the breath, right? You can close your eyes or you can have your eyes open and you can place your hand on your stomach if you want. That you can also place it on your heart center. And you're just noticing your breathing and the belly rising and going in and out. And we just start with that. Now, how does this relate to desires? Well, when we're taking in, wanting so much, reacting on our desires, we're trying to not deal with what is it, why do I desire something so much? What is it, why do I need it so much? That it's going to make me feel better, right? It's going to make me feel better. And it feels better, it feels good for a moment, but they say that the build up to wanting something is, the dopamine is, that's when you receive the rush. It's not when you actually get it. So it's the build up to it. And so when you're building up, you're getting that rush, that adrenaline rush. And once you get it, you're like, oh, okay, it's done. That's why sometimes when we work so hard on something and we kind of worked, we had a desire to do something, we worked really hard on it, and then we're kind of feeling empty after. And we're surprised that we feel empty. And some people have said they feel depressed or sad, and they're confused. Like, why didn't that bring me the joy that I was looking for? So the joy that you're looking for is, in mindfulness, is practicing this joy or the moment, the peace, and not even being in, like when there is that storm, is a continual practice, continual growth. So, for example, if I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling agitated, restless, and I'm going, well, I think everything's okay. Why do I feel that? And sometimes it's something I don't want to deal with, and I'm uncomfortable. Let's say I have to speak to someone and face something, and it's an uncomfortable conversation, and then the thoughts start happening, and I'm projecting about what might happen. So now we're not in the present, we're in the future, and this is where anxiety comes in, right? We're starting to get anxious. Now, we don't even know what's going to happen. We don't even know the outcome. So here I'm causing my suffering and I don't know how, I don't know what's going to happen. But what I do know, if I would practice connecting to my breath and being a little more mindful, I can settle into that. I can say for myself that I have felt a huge shift and a huge difference in my life practicing mindfulness, practicing connecting to the breath, pausing, before I take action. I had wrote down a note. Oh, this is a good note I wrote down. It's reacting forges your destiny. Oh, this is so good. Okay, reacting forges your destiny. So what does that mean? Reacting emotionally only triggers you. So reacting forges your destiny. So they're saying this because your reaction. So imagine that you are reacting and you're getting angry, and that's going to create the energy that will happen in the future because you're building up to it. You haven't accepted where you're at. So you are feeling, let's say you're feeling overwhelmed and you're getting upset, and then it's building and it's building and you're making it worse, and you're anticipating something to happen that might, in a negative way. So now you're creating negative energy going forward. And that's creating your destiny. Whether it's a destiny in 10 minutes, an hour, in a few years, it's the same thing. It's a habitual reaction. It's a habitual way to react. So recognizing your reactions, when you have awareness of where you're at, you become as the observer. So you're able to observe yourself. You can feel all the things. You don't want to run away from your feelings. You don't want to push them down or push them away. You want to notice them and feel them, because there is suffering in life. We suffer. This is normal. What's not normal is how we react to it. So you have a choice. You have a choice to feed the fire and make it larger than life, or you can settle it like the dirt, settle down. And then from there, every time, let's say, I'm just going to say, every time I do that, when I take a moment and pause and say, right now, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm breathing. I'm fine. And this too shall pass. Also, when I do take a pause, usually a solution comes out of it. Usually everything works its way in the right direction. However, let's say, for example, I just fly off. I react. I call instantly. I text instantly. It's all reaction. And then on the other side, you get the reaction, and then you get that back and forth, and then the energy just builds up, and that creates this negative energy, and then that vibration of yourself goes lower and lower. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't, and this messes up with the whole system of our body, our mindset, everything. That's why I feel so strongly about taking a pause, taking a moment, and just settling within ourselves and just practicing this breath work and just breathing and just connecting and just noticing. I will continue to share this different ways and different examples, because I know it's helped me. I see it like when I'm teaching it. I know a lot of other individuals who have benefited from it. And it's really great to see the evolution of how you can really change your energy and your habits and the way you live your life. But it's not without taking a step back and taking a pause. It's not without acceptance, letting go of things that just don't work for you anymore. And also being dedicated to your well-being. I will finish with this. The best example I could say for this is that you know that if you want to become physically strong and you go to the gym, you need to go consistently and you will build the muscles, right? Well, it's the same thing in mindfulness. People say, I can't meditate. Well, you can't meditate or go into a quiet space because you're not doing it consistently. So just take 1 minute, several times a day maybe, put an alarm on, and you will see the muscle of your centering, of connecting with yourself is going to grow and grow. And do you know what happens? You create this space of peace, harmony, connection. And when you start to feel this, you make better choices for yourself, decisions around you, and for the well-being of other people or people around you or your community. You share that energy. If you want things to change, if you want your environment to change, if you want something that you're not happy with, you need to start with yourself. You need to hold this space of inner peace. And it starts by practicing 1 moment at a time, but consistently. Don't make it such a big challenge. Just start off slow. First thing in the morning, you open your eyes, connect with the breath. Just do that. Start off that before you pick up your phone, before you start the day, before you start the list, and finish also with it too. So I hope that this helped you, and we will continue these conversations about how to live a better, healthier life with inner peace. And I wish you a great day. Many blessings.